Good evening, everybody. Let me just check levels while I'm talking. Good. Audio's even working as well. Welcome to the stream this evening. Tonight, we are taking a look at free roam, and then we are taking a look at Scenario Planner. But before that, we are joined by JD and Lucas. Say hi, folks.
Hello.
Hey everybody, it's a little bit weird only being on voice tonight, I have to be honest. I've not done one of these preview streams yet, so it's nice to be with everybody, my two favourite people in the TSW development team. Don't tell anybody else, but it's nice to be with you all.
You get like little mannequins we can control on the screen.
Oh, see, now there you go, VTuber hype. Right, okay. So, let's get on with some admin, I think, first, JD.
I was going to say I might not be on video tonight, but I can still do some admin by voice. I'm sure everybody is pleased to hear. So yeah, just a quick one, everybody, before we get started on the good stuff tonight. Obviously, we are talking free roam and scenario planner tonight. We weren't able to show scenario planner last week, so we'll do a little bit of that at the end tonight. But we're going to be, the headline act is free roam. We know a lot of you were really excited when we announced this for TSW4, and we cannot wait to show it to you and see what kind of things you can get up to when it launches. So launches the 26th of September. The early access, if you get deluxe edition and special edition, is the 21st. We're going to be putting a little thread up with all of the details that you need to know before early access and launch in a couple of days' time after we've done the stream tonight. But all the bundle store links are in the description of the video if you're watching on YouTube, and on our website otherwise. And we are talking about East Coast Mainline and Scotsman on Wednesday, which is going to be a hell of a stream. And I know, Matt, you're particularly excited for that one.
Oh, I just cannot wait to get that flying Scotsman and blast it. It's we got some good plans, actually. It should be a fun stream, really fun stream.
Yes, and this one should be as well. This one will be a really fun stream. We're going to try and keep this a little bit loosey-goosey tonight, because obviously the whole point of free roam mode is that it's freedom. You get the opportunity to do kind of what you want with it when you want to do it. So we're going to go through a few examples of what players might be able to do or might want to do, and we're going to be also sort of running through some of your questions that you've been submitting to our forums. Now, if you have any questions as we go through, I'll be collecting them. One of the benefits of me being on camera is I can spend more time looking at your questions and putting them onto the script. So I will try and do as much as I can to get as many questions answered related specifically to free roam mode and also scenario planner tonight. But we've got some in the bank ready to go. So Matt, should we get going?
Let's get going. Right. Okay, we're going to get started with free roam. So, free roam. What is free roam? Free roam is the ability. It comes in two flavors, broadly speaking. One of them is essentially you on the world on your own, and the other one is basically chaos and mayhem in service mode, but actually it's incredibly fun. I'm going to show you a bit of each. So we're going to start off in, I guess, proper free roam mode with nothing else in the way. Why would you have this and not just all do it in service mode? AI trains get in the way of just what you want to go sometimes. So if you just want to do your own thing, you can just hide away in free roam mode. Now, one of the questions I've seen and one of the comments we've talked about previously is about old content. So I'm going to go into sandpatch grade. And we've mentioned on a number of occasions, and this dates back to the dawn of Train Sim World, was the free roam mode or free roam scenario that came in that allowed you to just shunt wagons in and around the yard, but you then couldn't leave the yard because obviously red lights. So free roam mode actually was kind of, always thought of as being one of the ways we would ultimately be able to resolve that problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose into just a light cloud spawning at Cumberland Terminal, and we're just going to get going. And we're in free roam mode, so there's nothing else in the world. I can do anything I want on this because there is only me here. It's also going to be a little bit lonely, perhaps, but hey, it's ultimate freedom comes with its cost. So let's just have a quick check on the map here, and where I am right now is actually fine. So what we'll do is we'll get right to it. You press the tab key. Or it's the left D-pad, I think, on controller, and you get the new context menu for free roam mode. Now, this context menu works when you're free roam mode, and it works in service mode because you have full free roam functionality in service mode. We're going to come to that in the second part of this demo. Spawn new train, and I'm going to just search for some stuff that I've got installed. C40, 2 light locos, spawn. Right, so it's now going to follow me around, and I can tell it where I want to put it. You'll notice here it won't fit. because it just doesn't fit. So what I'm going to do is put it, and the front will always be facing me. So if I press the X key, it's train spawned. You can do that as much as you like. Spawn wagons, spawn trains. That's free roam in a nutshell, really. It's just the ability to do that. However, it can also do some other cool stuff, which we're going to get to in a minute. Now, what I do need to do, that's it. I need to turn the game audio on so I can hear the game audio. Let's get the freight in.
This is so cool already. Like the green and the red sort of obviously showing. Because one of my questions would be, can you place anything anywhere? By the sounds of things, you've got sort of a green spot that will allow you to put things within a certain space, depending on the length of the train and the length of the platform and all that jazz.
And other factors.
Oh, and other factors, Lucas. Tell us about some of those other factors.
Yeah, so in timetable mode, for example, we don't want to completely ruin the timetable. So you basically, if a route has already been set, like if a train has already got a green signal onto a route, that route is also blocked. So you're gonna have to. You can set it on the track next to it and then wait for the other train to get out of the way. Set signals, but it checks for a little bit more than just if there's place, if there's enough space for it.
Essentially, from a player's perspective, you'll see a red or a green box then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Setting myself a little path inside the yard. So you've been able to do this bit previously because you can obviously set your path in the yard however you want. And I'm just moving over into the hump yard part of it. I thought it'd be quicker to drive there than walk there. So we'll move over there, and then what we'll do is we'll get ourselves some wagons, or freight cars, freight cars. I know we're breaking the speed limit. Between us, we'll have to learn to live with that for a minute. Can you spawn multiple trains and couple them together? We are about to do exactly that, multiple times. But I need to get over to the yard.
If you don't enjoy Matt breaking the speed limit, you will not look forward to the Scotsman stream, I'm sure.
No, this is true. This is true. Sandbox to change destination. Do you mean like PAS destination or change routing? Change routing, yes, and we're going to get to that in a minute. And you'll see throughout all of this stream, Heavy Weapons Guy, you'll see how the dispatcher works with it, particularly when we get onto the second bit, which is we're going to do in Dresden. And I'm going to do that in full service mode with a very busy timetable. It's chaos, absolute chaos, but it's brilliant chaos.
This is why we've got Lucas on the stream as well. He's a master of chaos, so we're looking forward to having as much thrown at this as we possibly can. There was a question actually earlier about how many trains can you spawn if you wanted to. Like, is there any limit? Is there any kind of hypothetical limit, or is there a limit that we've imposed?
There's a limit. I think it's set to 100 individual trains at the moment. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to reach that.
I'd be impressed if players could find.
Obviously, people are gonna have to be aware that if you spawn 50 different trains, like on a Gen 8 console might not like that. So be a little careful with that.
We're getting there. There's the yard over there on the left.
The RAM concerns, basically, they're not gone.
No, when we there is some limits on there, but kind of wanted to let you have some flexibility to do what you want, which means that you can cause chaos and mayhem in service mode. You can get things deadlocked and tied up in a knot, and that's fine. That's up to you. It does even warn you, as you'll see when we get to the next one, when you try and manipulate anything in service mode, that you know, you can do it, but you may have just broken the timetable by doing that. But you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So much works and works really well. It is just a real absolute blast.
Springs asks, can you fly around? Because obviously we're on a route at the moment, and you want to be able to spawn in different locations. Can you fly around the route using the 8 key to respawn?
I actually haven't tried that. No, because I'm in the drive. It's only the walking camera that has the ability to do that.
Right, okay. So, Matt, just in terms of, again, a little bit of admin for tonight, what are we, because we're going to be showing off a little bit of Sandpatch and sort of highlighting one of the kind of historic things that we think that players will be able to utilise this kind of thing for. But we're going to be moving on to, is it Nahverkehr Dresden after this to showcase what we can do, because we think Dresden in particular you'll be able to have a lot of fun with. So we'll be covering those two tonight from a free roam perspective, but again there might be a couple of other examples that we want to showcase. So yeah, if there's anything you want to see particularly, ask us in the chat, we'll sort of add it to the list.
Right, move that down there. I'm going to bring myself over to the yard and tuck in just over there. We'll do nicely. Right, back up. Chat is scrolling so fast. Someone's asking, Roblox Olympics, can you put an EMU on a diesel route? We do not have off the rails mode support at this time, which means that you can spawn an EMU in on a route without the appropriate power. It ain't going anywhere though, unless you release the brakes on a downhill, then I guess you might be able to make it fall. No, there's no equivalent to off the rails. So yeah, now that may be something we look at reviewing in the future. We're interested in your feedback, but at this point, and as for release, no.
So Mrs. Timeline asked, do couplers have to be compatible in order to couple free roam mode? I would assume yes, but
all of everything about the remember this is a simulator, so your couplers, your power systems, your brake systems all have to be compatible. So you're probably not connecting this train to Mark 1s in vacuum brakes either, for numerous reasons.
Right. There's loads of questions, which is brilliant. I'm going to try and sort of whiz through a few of these. Eastern Ralphan asks, can you spawn train for the Creators Club with Breeze?
Yes.
Yes. Is there a deletion tool? I think we'll show that a little bit later.
I am going to be showing you that, yes.
Yep. Bradley asks, is this free roam or scenario planet? This is free roam. The Nerf Freak asks, what if an engine derails in free roam? Does it restart the session, or do you have to, does it restart the session?
I think if you do derails, it'll end the session.
Yep. Northern asks, can we use our TSW3 add-ons in TSW4? Yes, absolutely. All of that compatible content will be ready for you on day one to re-download with TSW4. But you will have to re-download them. So again, there's a few players that have been asking, should I keep them installed on TSW3? Obviously, whilst you're playing TSW3, keep them installed, but as soon as you move to TSW4, you'll have to re-download them anyway, so you can uninstall them if you want to.
Right, we've got roughly where I wanted to go, so I'm just going to stand up at this point and jump off. Right, let's go and get some wagons. And whilst we're here, collectible time. Right. Walking is so pedestrian.
While you get there, Matt, I would assume then, I am the game says, I would assume then coupling and air brake pressure matches the UK diesels and German freight, matches UK diesels and German freight cars would be compatible.
I think so. Try it and see what happens. Let us know if it doesn't work the way you'd expect it to. But yeah, because everything's using realistic settings, so if they would work in reality, it should work in the game. If it wouldn't work in reality, I wouldn't expect it to work here. Okay.
Harry Nielsen asked, can you, the tool free roam change to timetable? I think reading between the lines within that, we will show it in timetable mode. Right,
that's coming later up after this, yeah.
Yeah.
So I am going to spawn. I want some wagons, so I'm going to... Freight cars. Stop saying wagons. I'm going to spawn this train here, and this will do fine. Boom, big old train. And I don't want these locos. I just want the wagons. This is just a really lazy way of getting some wagons. So what I'm going to do is uncouple them, and then I'm going to say delete. That's it. Okay, good. Right, let's bring my locos back up to my wagons. Freight cars. Jeez. We don't have wagons in America. I'll get in trouble.
Top trains are so you can change the points wherever you want to on main lines.
So, no, you can change. You can set paths and routes and stuff on the main line. I'm not on the main line. Remember, I'm in the yard. But in a minute, what I'm going to do is once I've got these cars, I'm going to set a route out onto the main line, and the end result is kind of yes, you can set to go wherever you want to, but it's not by changing the junctions. It's by setting a route and adding that route into the dispatching system. Then you'll see the signals change, the points change, and so forth. Right, reverse, no, forwards. I got in the wrong end. It's because I'm a genius.
Well, we get this sorted, Lucas. I know that you were kind of one of the driving forces within the dev team to kind of get this as one of the features of TSW4. What kind of technically needed to happen in order to be able to make this a thing?
Well, mainly we needed to adjust the dispatcher a little bit because that didn't have all the functionality for this. So that was the hardest part. Basically, the dispatcher now is or how do I call this? The timetable of this is a modified version and comes with a slightly modified dispatcher, which handles all of what this needs to do. And that was the hardest bit. Actually, there was a mod on PC, God Mode, which people used already to spawn trains. But that mod, all it did was grab a few internal functions that we already did, because we did prototype this for a while now. So this spawning trains and letting them drive to certain destinations has been a thing for a few years now, because we always wanted to do this. But it was very slow. So if you wanted to like set a destination in Munich, it did take like 10 minutes to figure out where to go. So a lot of things needed just
productizing,
giving it a good UI, and yeah.
Because I think again, I'm kind of going anecdotally here from what we've seen from players' reactions, both to when we did the keynote way back when we announced, to kind of everything since. That I think of everything, maybe except for the editor within TSW4, this is kind of the thing that really sets it apart from in terms of feature sets. This is the thing that we're really excited to see how players use, because I'm sure there's applications for this that players will be able to do that we've not even thought of yet. So I'm really excited to kind of see how this is utilized, and I can imagine some really great live streams and screenshots that wouldn't normally be possible in scenarios and timetable modes.
Yeah, this has been great fun, because it's my favorite mode, and it's been for 2 years. The internal version, which is really shit, but still worked.
Sorry. Well, you have to we'll have to apologise for Lucas's language there.
His bluntness.
Family-friendly stream.
I'm sorry. I need a beep button. So every time I say something bad, I should just, I don't know. I actually have some beep buttons. Just need to be like.
Zifa.
I think I say something bad.
Maybe we can
kind of a train
for future.
I managed to break my train already. You know what?
Obviously, it opens up a lot of new areas on maps, just positive and negative, because you can access a lot of areas that we didn't use in any gameplay before. But it's also negative because some of them aren't properly like finished in terms of signaling and stuff. So people will find problems. So I'm sure we'll get new huge bug lists. That's how it is.
Yeah, but I mean, as I say, we've got there are lots of routes now, and lots of, I would imagine, inordinate amount of combinations of things that you can use in different places. So that there will be a case of things perhaps not all working immediately for everything, but from what I can gather, at least sort of from what we've seen from the team, from our beta testers and whatnot, that there is a lot of things that people are going to be really happy with that they can do now.
Free roam has been really
definitely.
popular, hasn't it?
Yeah, people have been using it a lot. It's especially like it combines very well with photo mode, because you can set your terrains where you want and then do the photo you want to do. And after all, our community is pretty full of rail fans who stand with a camera next to the real railway, and that's also pretty popular doing that now in the game, at least it feels like it. So.
So I just had a minor
panicking while Lucas and I were talking then to try and work out what he needed to do.
Well, I managed to break the train and stall it out somehow. I'm not quite sure how I managed to do that, and I couldn't get it started again. So rather than continue messing with it, I demonstrated, for those of you who are keenly watching, the new I'm Stuck feature. By just pressing the I'm Stuck, reset the physics, and here we go. We're off and running again.
Yeah, I mean, and I really could have done with that when we did the 4-up challenge around Sandpatch and Rage Quit. So I'm delighted that we have this kind of this feature now. And Mac, you obviously don't want to demonstrate it right now, but if players wanted to do it, what would they need to go in? What would they need to press?
Just press pause button, go into options, overview, and there's an I'm Stuck button down here. And what that does is reset the simulgraph, the engine and braking physics, and the controls in the train back to how they were at the beginning. So you can then get going again using that. Right, okay, I'm just switching ends. Bear with.
Matthias has asked, when will PC Editor be available, early access or full release? At the moment, we're still kind of going through the final submission bits and pieces with Epic at the moment, so we can't give a confirmed answer on that just yet. But as soon as we know, we will, of course, let you all know too. We hope to get it in as soon as we possibly can do, but at the moment, we don't have a confirmed early access launch, yay or nay at this point.
Right, so I got my freight cars. We're releasing the brakes. Power's even applying, and we're going to get... I want to prove that the train moves. While we're doing that, I'm going to click on the train. I'm going to click Set Path. Right, I've now got... You'll notice I've got some additional UI nonsense, and I'm going to say I want to just set a path to... Not there. To about here somewhere. Just as an example, we'll set a destination to there. Right, you notice I've now got an objective that's come up, and if I use Control 1, you can see it's given me a destination marker to it, and on the 9 view I've now got my blue line, which is the path it's going to follow. But as I wander down this path, I noticed that it's taking me out the left line, and I kind of fancy going out the right line, so let's fix that. So what I can do here is click here and do add go via waypoint, and I can set a waypoint here, confirm that, it's reset the path for me, and now if I follow the blue line to when it comes out, you can see we're now following this path over here. So that's set to freight, that's raised. Of course, this is a really heavy train, so that's why we need a bit more power to get it going. So we're just going to get going briefly. I'm not going to drive this very far, because one of the questions that was asked was, so imagine I'm doing a service or a free roam or whatever, and for whatever reason I get stuck. I can't get up the hill, and what I really need is a bit more power on the back of the train. Can I do that? And the answer is, of course you can. So let's just get onto the over these junctions, and then I'm going to bring the train to a stop. We're up and running, we're moving, it's all good. And we've decided, you know what, this hill is getting a bit too steep for us, so we're going to bring it to a stop. Put the independence on, put some service brake on, and bring the train to a stop. Anytime. Thank you. Right, let's go down the other end of the train. Yes, it's time to get some running in. So there's no AI trains, Pessy, with this. and I mean, sorry, if you're in service mode, obviously service mode has AI trains, but you can't give a train instructions and send it off to do its thing. You can only give one instruction to the train you're in command of, and that's it.
Godzilla fan asks, can you spawn trains at the training centre?
Anywhere, on any route.
I believe, yeah, that should be fine. And Ben's asked, can this be used in normal timetable modes?
That's what we're doing in a minute.
We'll show that in a second, Ben.
This is the last bit I just wanted to show.
Said, can you talk about? Sorry, Matt. That Isaac's asked, can you talk about Formation Designer? What is it? And I think Formation Designer and Free Roam are two of kind of, I guess, like they're really good bedfellows because they are. They're kind of linked, and we've talked a little bit about some of the options that players have got available to them at the moment and what they can select and what they can put on free roam mode. Being able to create your own formations as well and implement those into free roam mode just adds that extra layer of customization. Our formation design is coming after launch, as we've said a few times, but when it does come to TSW4, it opens up even more opportunities within free roam.
Yes, Formation Designer does. It'll add a lot more, and particularly where you see here, it'd be like, oh, I wish there was more to do. Right, more formations to pick up and that sort of thing. Right, let me. If I take the brakes off, we'll be all in a good place. Put it in forwards. I'm really with it tonight. I'm doing a good job. All right. Coupled up. Now what I'm going to do is disconnect the brake valve and put it in handle out. I'm going to take the loco brake to release, put this in neutral. That's in idle. Gen field needs to be in because it's running as a second set. That's all set up correctly. We should be set up for banking on comms. Actually, I can cheat. I don't need to. Now I've got a train in the train, so I can cheat. Console owners may cry a little bit because they can't do this. Sorry. That's it. Jump up to the other end of the train. And let's put it in neutral. And then what we'll do is pop banking comm on. Pop it in forwards. Theory, if I fly down the back end of the train... see it taking load on the back end of the train now. And release the brakes. Wait for it to release all the brakes and away we go. So I've added 2 more locos to my my roster, and we should be in good stead to get up the hill, and if I needed more I can just throw more on. And when you get to the top of the hill you can just go zap zap, get rid of them.
That will be the proper terminology, right? Zap zap.
Zap zap, exactly.
We need to get that one on a t-shirt, Matt.
Exactly, yeah, do the zap zap.
A couple of more general questions. Tortita asks, will all of my saved TSW3 liveries from Creators Club transfer? As far as I'm aware, because they're connected to your Dovetail Live account, you should be able to then, you need to re-upload them to Creators Club, but they'll still be there in your account.
Alright, I've lost my path, so let's go and set my path again. Confirm that, and then I want to just change that waypoint I did before. It lost the path because I took control of a different train. Right. I now have a clear path that should be out all the way.
Woohoo! And thus you're able to do something you were never able to do in any other
Exactly.
PSW game. So what happens, Matt, when you get to, you've set your destination and you get to it, what happens to your session after that? Can you just sort of carry on playing, or does the...
Yeah, it doesn't stop. So I've just cleared the destination. So if I now set a path, and we'll just say that the path will end here. Right, so we've got a path now that's 1,200 feet in front of us, so I'm going to just ease the brakes on. Once you've completed the objective, you've just got no more objectives. So you're free to set your next objective. You notice it's already counting down the objective up here in the mini HUD, or you can see it up here there. Of course, junction was set in correct way, so what we do at this point is we remove the path and we set a path there instead. Go. If you're going the wrong way, just make where you're going the right way.
Nice.
Oh, hello, has the stream died?
Oh,
No, we're running.
Okay. Someone's got a problem. I wonder if Restream has an issue.
Twitch has crashed by the sounds of things.
Ah, okay. YouTube's still working.
If there's anybody that's in Twitch chat right now and is able to shepherd people over to maybe to YouTube, that would be wonderful. I'm not quite sure what's happening there.
Right, I will hold fire. Right, so we just completed the objective, and that's it. You know, we can now get out, spawn some more trains, add a new path, do what you like. Really, it's up to you. That's kind of free roam at its most basic, in a world of your own, doing your own thing. So, what I'm going to do now?
Let's get to the fun part.
Let's go to Dresden. That was fun. What are you talking about? Right. Dresden. I'm going to go timetable this time, and we'll go on for around 10 o'clock into Dresden. We'll go custom weather again so we don't get any nasty weather showing up, and we'll hit spawn. Right, so what I want to do is use the training center 8F because it reminds me a bit of a BR-52, you know, ish. Shut up. I use the tools of
RSD.
So I'm going to press the, so we've got AI trains here, notice. Yeah. First thing we can see is we've got AI trains. And we're in normal timetable mode. So if I look around, you can see AI trains. So I press tab, spawn new train, and I'm going to go 8F, training center, and I'm going to spawn an 8F. Right here. Now you'll notice you can see the loco on the tender, and if I turn around you can see the loco on the tender. This is where the front is. The front is always where the blue arrow is. Press spawn. There you go, my British Rail 52. Right.
And this is the beauty of this mode, really. You just do anything.
Just do anything you like.
Within the parameters that we've already talked about, but you can do anything. Just have fun with it and just sort of play to your heart's content. Gone are sort of the days where you have to sort of a 2-hour-long service or an hour scenario or whatever. You can just jump in and spend as long as you like, just having a bit of fun. Yes, Sharky says it just makes it easier to do your own little custom rail tour. Exactly. We talked about Scotsman going on a world tour. You can put her on a world tour wherever it can be placed. Grace Kid asks, how does the reset physics button work on the Steam loco?
exactly the same. It will just reset the physics to where you found them. All the boiler pressure will reset, brake values will reset, controls will reset. Literally does a reset on all the physics. Train going over there. We've got that one coming out. Oh, that's the one that's got ahead of us. We're waiting for that train to get going and out a mile away. This one.
So obviously the signaling that you're seeing here is what you like. You kind of have to adhere to the signal. You can't change what you would see with the signaling. You have to adhere to all of the rules of the railway.
This is kind of like the main difference between using the free roam option and you doing it in timetable. In free roam option, you're almost never going to get a signal against you if you've got a path set that way. But if you're in timetable, there's other trains there, and you'll be in and amongst that environment. So the IC train is heading off. Looks like we've got another train coming in over here somewhere. There it is. There, another talent coming in there. But we're waiting for that IC train to get out of our way. We will be putting coaches on, Terry. We will be putting coaches on.
Don't you worry. There was a question earlier that I missed. I can't remember who it was from. Apologies. Asking if things like if you were driving X amount of miles in free roam mode, would it track for things like distance travelled on achievements and whatnot?
Yeah. Driving a train is driving a train. Doesn't matter how you're doing it.
I assume it's the same as like driving it in training centre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sophie asks, can you add passenger pickup stops?
No. So at the moment, all you can add is a stop at location with go vias. We want to, over the course of time, potentially look at coming back and adding more complex things to it. There you go. Got the yellow light. Off we go. But as it stands, it doesn't do that on day one. And I couldn't give you a date of when it would do that. So know that it doesn't do that. Just trying to give you an idea of where our head is at. Is there an option for actual couple to instructions outside of yards where the dispatch needs to be contacted? Yes, and I'm going to be doing that, in fact.
Way ahead of you, Raging Lightning.
Wanted to try and show off a range of different things.
So Heavy Weapons guy asked, and this is a more technical question, so I don't know if this is a Matt or a Lucas one, but is the provided path set indefinitely, or will the dispatcher change up the signals if other AI needs it?
It's your path.
If you got a path, you will have it. If you're imagine a freeway junction, you come there, and there are two trains waiting for a third train to go through, then it's luck who gets it. So if you're really unlucky, and you lose the draw a few times, you're gonna wait a while. But if you have a path, then it's yours.
Cool, so that's kind of how the priority system works then with the dispatcher logic.
Yeah.
Cool. Simon's GoPro video asks, can you walk past the red signal and then spawn your train?
Yes.
Depending on if there is... Yeah, because there probably isn't anything... It depends, because if there's a train got a path allocated across it, no.
Yeah.
But if there isn't a train actually allocated to that section of track, then yes, it will let you spawn it. But once again, chaos and mayhem are yours to own, and if you break it, you keep it.
Can you remove AI trains from service mode? I don't believe so, right?
Yes, you can.
Oh, you can.
Like I said.
What, you can just click? You can just click on a train and say delete.
Yeah.
If there's somebody in your way you really don't like.
Oh, that is fantastic.
He's gonna go.
Oh, that's my favourite feature of all of the new games. I'm throwing it out there.
I checked that earlier on when I was testing Sandpatch Grade, and I just deleted your GP38 from the timetable, and yeah, it vanished. It proper vanished.
Someone is really annoying you. Just like, nope, see you later.
So I'm just going to go ahead and set this path. I don't care that there's another train there, because it's up to dispatch to fix that problem for me, not for me. And I'm going to go here. I'm being naughty here and approaching a red signal, but, you know,
JP said
Pretend you
someone left
didn't
something
see
on the
it.
turntable at my head. I wanted the turntable, so I deleted it. Oh, so fun. I enjoy that so much.
There you go. We've got the white light now that the other train has cleared this junction. But this is the fun of doing it in service mode. All this other traffic going on. It's crazy good.
And Moleman, so hello James, said it will definitely break a timetable, but it's worth it for the fun. I think this is it. We want to cause chaos. We want to have a bit of we want to just have a bit of free reign to do something. And as we said before, it will mean that sometimes things don't quite go to plan for you, but at the same time, you have a good time doing it.
It is something, like I said, that the beta testers have been having a tremendous amount of fun with, doing all sorts of different things, and doing sensible things as well, like adding rail tours in and doing special extra services is a common thing that people want to do with it. Yeah, it's up to you what you want to do with it. There's a lot of fun to be had.
Interesting question from Scott Rail. Can you set a path on a section of track that is never used, or is that a limit? I guess you'd spawn on train on an unused piece.
It depends.
Of track as well.
You can, if you can get to it, then you can probably spawn train on it. Whether and how well signalling and so forth works in areas that have never been used before, let's find out. You'll find that we will find you can explore places wider than you have been previously. But barriers and end of game markers do still exist, so if you drive off the ends of a route, then it will still boot you out without warning. So before you go ahead and spend a long time and then end up coming out of a session because you went the wrong way, go and understand your strengths and what you can do first in short session. Just spawn a train where you want to go and see if it all works okay. And then you'll be able to get more familiarity with it. So I've just arrived at the yard, so I'm going to jump down here, and at this point I'm going to spawn. Now I don't have peak or crew installed, I don't think, so I'm going to have to use another one of these to get my Mark 5 coaches. Just have to be 5. I wanted to do 8, but there you go, we've got some coaches, but I don't want the 8F. You know what? I've got one of those. So I'm going to uncouple that, and I'm going to delete. There we go.
Bye.
Let's go and get our coaches.
Sorry, Zap Zap, was it? Zap Zap, that's what it
Zap
was.
Zap. Right, let's go forward. Now, here's another little rule you've got to remember. You are in the railway here. You cannot just, particularly these sorts of areas with signals, you can't just go anywhere. You need to go where signals will let you go. Yeah, this is free roam, but only within the confines of the railway. So this is the signal down here. Now, in order to get back up to this road beside me, I need a signal facing in the other direction to give me that permission. So at this point, I'm going to run all the way out here, and actually my first back signal is that one. So I've got to go all the way out here to come back into that other road. So if I set a path and go to, I think it was here. Too far, but that's okay. As long as I've gone past the signal, I can cancel the path. That's fine. Right, let's.
A couple of players have asked around livery designer liveries, and yes, you can spawn those in here as well. Can you use Creators Club liveries as well, just to confirm?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Fruit says, can you spawn trains when using the 3 or 8 camera? I think we touched on this earlier. I don't think you can, right? It's only walk mode.
It's only on foot, yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked a question about, can you make a double header by spawning trains like the 8F and then 4F? Godzilla fan asks. Cool. I love these kinds of streams. You get to say yes a lot, man.
Yeah.
Morgan Transporting, you planning to add another steam engine to Train Sim 4? Scotsman coming. I know that probably doesn't refer to that question, but it's not on the road. We've not got anything on the roadmap currently.
Oh, the freight train disappearing on the main line over there. Right, I just need to clear this signal. And then come to a stop. Again, we'll go into the map and we will remove the path. You'll notice the signal's gone back. So now I'm going to set the path back to my coaches. Right, so in order to go back to the coaches, I'm going to need to request permission. Okay.
Oh no, the signal has fallen back. Alarm!
Vorkip asks, is it possible to follow a service with your custom spawned train? I guess so, yeah.
I mean, you'll be following it within signal restraints. I guess if you spawn in the same block, no, eventually the dispatcher will separate you out, I guess. So, I don't know. Try it. See how you get on. Have fun. It's yours to break.
Yeah. Taylor's suggested quality of life improvement around map being updated to better reflect signal directions.
Yeah, it's on.
Seems
We actually have that in our development version of the map. If you'll see it when you look in the PC editor. So we have got some small enhancements like that. That would be a big win on that. Right, let's get our coaches and then we can make a move.
Shreve says, is free roam mode only possible on TSW4 routes, also on older routes? Older routes, we showcased Sandpatch, the oldest of the old, on at the start of the stream, so it's available on all routes.
It is more robust. Like the signaling has developed further. The newer the route, the better the signaling will be. But it works everywhere.
How interesting asks just how silly can you be though? Like how many trains can you block? Well, we challenge you to see what the limit is. As I said, you're going to be able to find ways to interact with this tool and get loads out of it that we probably haven't even thought of yet. So if you can cause all manner of chaos, we'd love to see how you do it. And if you want to stream it, or you want to create some content around it, or you want to share some screenshots, put them on the forums, we would love to see how you are using it.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm hyped to see what people end up doing with it. It's going to be fun. So much fun.
Dan Baker has asked, can wagons be spawned in individually? I think this ties in the fact that we were talking about in relation to Formation Designer, because I think there'll be more customization options when you've got Formation Designer. But in terms of individually sending in wagons, I think what we've got on this list is what you would be able to send through on release. But as Matt's just done it there, there are ones which sort of are individual on there too.
Got freedom. You can spawn stuff in. At the moment, you can only do singles, and when you've got Formation Design, you'll be able to do more.
Yeah, we've got lots of people in the chat already saying what they want to do with it as well. So, who's it that said it? I think Heavy Weapons guy said he's going to go for a power station on Ruhr Signal with a lovely 363. And James has already suggested spawning a Gronk in the middle of London Victoria and watching the dispatcher cry. Stick trains on every level crossing on East Coast Main Line. Yeah, fine, go for it, do it.
Right, so we're on our way now.
Yeah, Railway guy said LGV can that be used for free roam? Yes, absolutely can do. Obviously within the limitations of what you can actually use, like the overhead lines.
So you can see we've got nice signals ahead of us. I've obviously timed it nicely, so where we've got a path. There's another talent coming out here that's going alongside us. Got a green light. So you can see indicators for for speed indicators and route indicators in UK routes. They're all going to work exactly as they should do, because you are setting a route exactly the same as it sets routes when you're in service modes or scenarios or anything like that. Yes, the Azuma could be used in all routes in diesel mode, Sophie.
Yeah, that's one of actually the really good things about Azuma, is that because you've got the 2 modes, it will pretty much fit in most places.
It's not going to go anywhere in a hurry because it's only rescue diesel, but yeah, you can move it.
Yeah. Can you spawn? Your average class 319 Can you spawn a 64 car TGV? I'm sure you could.
I don't see why not. I've no idea if we can make it move.
So Matt, I've got a few kind of questions that I grabbed from the forums just while we're going through and we are stopping at the location. If you're just able to give like some of them are sort of situational based things, hypothetical yes or no, that would be good. Amtrak Nick asks, if I had to run a train from Los Angeles to Lancaster or vice versa and reach the end, can I switch end and go back to where I started? Will the signals be red and it's set up to just run free roam one way?
No, you'd set a path the other way and go, and you get lights. Yes, fully working that.
So it's fine. Could I run a full 4.5 hour round trip with no issue in free roam?
Yes. More than that, if you want to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, fill your boots.
I mean, we can do this in sort of Matt live stream sort of time increments. So you could do 2 Matt live streams if you really wanted to. 8 hours. Great, let's do it. Other requests or other bits and pieces. So there's There was a couple of questions about ICEs and. Can you spawn single ICE middle and head cars?
No, you can't spawn fractional bits of fixed units, so ICEs, the HST, and so forth. That might be something we look at changing in the future, but at the moment I don't know whether or not they will couple properly or anything. So at the moment, no, fixed units like that are still only fixed units.
Trixie's asked, does save game work in free roam?
It does.
You should be able to save the game, shouldn't you?
Yes, but it is still the same one save game. So if you save your free roam where it is, you can reload it. But if you then save a scenario or a service, that overwrites it.
Yes. Nitrax has asked, because we were talking about long live streams, asked for a 24-hour charity free roam live stream when? Well, actually, Matt, it's interesting that people say that, isn't it? Because I think we were talking the other day, and Special Effects do something called One Special Day. Out in October, we were talking about what we might want to do to help support that from a live streaming perspective. They're a great charity, they do amazing things with accessibility and video games, so we are looking at what we can do to support those, but I would imagine that free roam will form the basis of quite a lot of the shenanigans that Matt wants to get up to.
All sorts of things. We need to pin it down, because of course there's an editor to play with as well, there's scenario planners, there's loads of routes and trains to play with. There's just so much to do now. So, yes, I think watch this space. We'll let you know when we got a date set out for it, and it'll be another Saturday, Sunday, 12 hours a day job. I'm really looking forward to it.
Three Matt streams then.
A day, yes.
So yeah, please be generous, everybody. It's a really brilliant cause. But yeah, more details on that down the line.
I want to know where JD gets this idea. My streams are only 4 hours long.
I think it's just because when we got to, I think when we did the roadmap stream TSW4, wasn't that was 3.5 hours, wasn't it? I think we made a couple of jokes about that, sort of 4 hours being your normal barometer for what constitutes a stream.
That's a minimum. So. That's what I call a minimum stream. Normally I'm aiming for 5 to 6. Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I can't be entertaining for 20 minutes, let alone.
I didn't say I was entertaining for that time, but
it just exists.
It's probably entertaining for the first 10 minutes, and then everyone just focused on the trains.
So Lucas, we know again you're the chaos master. What's the most chaotic thing you've done in free roam?
Oh God. Well, we have a few stations which are pretty big, and kind of to test Oh God, my Siri is going off. To test that, we actually tried to like fill a full station full of trains. The problem is that then no other trains from the timetable can get in there. So yeah, you suddenly have like 30 trains lying around, and it's hard to get them out again without deleting stuff. But it's fun. So what's also fun is using the trains to just get them somewhere and let them roll down. You need to be a little tricky when you want to like let wagons roll down a hill, because as soon as you touch them, they stop. They don't simulate anymore. But if you detach them while running and kind of stop your loco behind it, you can let stuff roll down a hill and then follow the wagon. It's also fun.
Yeah, the key thing is that physics on the train don't stop until the wagon stops. So if the wagon never stops, it remains having active physics.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Vol Calvin said, so TSW and Portal crossover drive trains while solving puzzles. I think that's what this kind of is, isn't it? It is like a live puzzle solving activity. I mean, shunting is kind of a puzzle solving thing by itself, let alone when you throw loads of other things into the mix. So yeah, I think if you're interested in puzzles and sort of figuring out the best or the craziest way you can do something and still manage to get out the other side, I think you're going to enjoy this.
Oh yeah, no, I think there's a lot to enjoy. I don't know if I can do this. Well, this might be a chaos moment.
You're not supposed to do this.
Okay, excellent.
Well, fine.
You can.
It worked. That's all I care about.
The poor.
Sign? What sign? Let's get back onto the main line. I mean, I hope we're kind of coming to the end of the free roam bit now, so I kind of hope we've explained and showed off what you can do with it, and you've got your imagination flying wild about, you know, how much fun you can have with it. In fact, one of the things you can see at the moment is, having set my path into Radable on the S-Bahn line, I've actually already held up this train. So, oh no, either there's another train coming down here on the outside that might have beaten me to it. There's a talent coming on that side. Have I got the path across? No, I don't. So I'm being held here because of the talent 2 coming across here.
So you're kind of seeing the dispatcher being dynamic in despite what we're trying to do to the contrary, to give these dispatchers a heart attack.
Exactly, it's just business as usual as far as it's concerned. It's allocating paths, and it'll allocate them as far as it can, and then you get red lights, and you'll figure it out from there.
IF smashing through signals on Dresden. Sorted. The reason why we wanted to show it on Dresden actually is because, as you can see, there's a lot of AI traffic going on, not just passers. So you can kind of see how it all interplays together with the dispatcher as well, because I think it's probably the best example that we could give of like the how everything all ties in as kind of one collective thing and adapts to how you play the game.
It's also pretty fun on Vorarlberg. There's just less tracks, so you wait more.
Lillian asked, would PZB be working right now? Yes. The way that I am driving this train is the only difference between this and service mode is I'm manually injecting some dispatch requests, whereas normally the timetable system would inject the dispatch requests for you. There's no difference otherwise than that at all. So the game, every aspect of the game should be exactly the same. Got a yellow light for the red. You should see that red pop over in a minute. Once it passes the this junction.
Only if you win the fight.
I say only if I win the fight.
I don't think you did. Oh no.
No, he's going that way, so no, I'm going to get held up. because he's now in the block I want to get to, which means that the other train will get the clear to go any second now. I would have thought.
Worth noting, just for everybody's visibility, that obviously early access, you have access to the core game. So things like obviously the route that we showed tonight, Dresden, Vorarlberg, East Coast Main Line, and Antelope. Everything else will become available with actual launch on the 26th. So obviously free roam mode becomes a lot more fun with your entire back catalogue. But it'd still be really interesting to kind of play around with those new routes as well. You've got sort of 5 days grace to be able to do that before everything else becomes available on launch day.
I'm pretty sure this is the express in the other direction, so it actually wants to be on your track. That's currently waiting there. Matt?
Where are the lights?
No. This is a stalemate. You're waiting.
Oh,
for
he
one
wants
on
to
the...
go. Oh no, I'll be waiting for this one to leave, and then I can go.
Yeah, and the one there waiting is waiting for you because it wants to be on your track.
Yes, it does. Because I'm wrong line running, you see. So if I set myself up on the correct track, then chaos wouldn't have happened. But I don't know if there's a junction to do that. Oh, there was. Oops. Yeah. Moving on. I never promised competence. Just remember, you can set your go vias. Check your path using the number 9, and then you can set your add go vias to adjust it. If it's wrong, then you have to delete the path and start again. But here he goes. As soon as his back end clears that signal, I should get the light to come in, and then he'll get the light to cross over onto my tracks and wave his fist angrily at me as I go past.
So just to reiterate again, because this is all available in the FAQs, but for early access, so the 21st of September, that's consoles at 4 PM and it is Steam and Epic at 6 PM, you'll be able to play all of the TSW4 core routes that we've shown you over the course of the last few streams. So East Coast Main Line, which is obviously we're previewing on Wednesday, Nahverkehr Dresden, and the other 2 routes that Vorarlberg and Antelope, and then also if you bought Special Edition, you'll be able to play the routes that have that come with Special Edition too. So the LGB, Boston, and I forget the other ones off the top of my head.
LGB Boston, Southeastern High Speed, and Link Tracker.
Yes, so everything that you've got as part of your bundle that you have purchased for Deluxe or Special Editions, you will be able to play during early access. It is just going to be the things that you already own, TSW 3 and TSW 2, and everything before that will be available on launch day, the 26th. So yeah, you can still have a lot of fun with it, but obviously the full power of something like this with your entire collection will be available on the 26th.
Someone asked about whether or not I should have released that path to let the train go. I was on the track it wanted to be on. So no. If it didn't want to go in the track I wanted to be on, and we were just at a sort of a junction stalemate, then yes, if I'd released the path, the dispatcher would have reevaluated the other one and let it go. But because I was in its way, it was always just going to be stuck there, I'm afraid. Now that I'm out of its way, as soon as the back end of my train clears, it should get the green light. Sorry. Go on, that's assuming that I haven't now got it held up behind other stuff.
I think you have.
Probably something else coming that's now snarled it up even more. But hey, this is the fun and the joy and the chaos of working in service mode. It's great because you get lots of other trains, but you may break them.
Awesome, Matt. Matt or Lucas? Is there anything else you would like to show or to do with free roam mode tonight, or are you happy that we've given players enough inspiration and enough ideas of things that they could be getting up to?
They can break it down. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this pretty much covers it, to be honest. It's the key things are spawn anything from your collection on any of your routes. Once you've spawned it, and you can spawn as many of them as that you want, up to the limits. You can spawn them on tracks that wouldn't normally get used. I wouldn't want to try those tracks. And then you can set paths, change waypoints, and so forth. So can we see if an EMU can be routed onto a non-electrified track? I don't think it will let you even try that. I can't remember.
No, it won't.
It won't.
So it'll just say this route is not available because it does an electrification checks. So.
Yeah.
Right, folks, we're getting a lot of questions about early access and when early access is going to be available. I understand everyone's really excited. I'm going to put a link to the FAQs in the chat that give you all of the information that you could possibly need about this kind of thing. So you can take a look at that. Please take a look. If you control an F, if you need to, early access, all of the stuff will be available in there. I just don't want to bore everybody else while we're on the live stream by answering the same questions over and over again.
Someone said, can you make it so we can sprint? You are sprinting by default. If you want to not sprint by default, then you can change it in the settings, but sprint is the default. Over here in one of the settings, there's something for that. Right, okay. Moving on to Scenario Planner. So, what's changed in Scenario Planner? Well, what we're going to do is make a quick scenario on the Vorarlberg. And yeah, great test scenarios, excellent. So first thing, give it some sort of small, humble title.
New feature is adding a description.
You can add a description now, and the description will pop up at the beginning of the scenario. So, good day, driver, drive this train to a place and do it now. Yo. Right. Okay, so I'm going to leave the start time at 12. But the difference is you can set the start time of the scenario, which you never used to be able to do. It used to be based on the player's start time. So you can now set the player's start time differently to the start time of the scenario. The common use case for this is setting this 5 or 10 minutes earlier than the player so that you can get some AI trains moving ahead of the player. I'm going to leave it in off the rails because then I don't have to think too much. So we'll leave it like that. Just confirm. Now we'll add a service. So this is going to be the player's service. And I'm going to start it at 12 actually. That's fine. Service type passenger. Right, so I can now set the train separately to, so if I want to just set the train, having set a path up, I don't have to then edit it and tab through everything to get to the thing. I can set the train here. But let's just go ahead and add our first path. Now, you can have multiple paths. This is the chaining thing. So I'm just following an example that James gave me earlier on. So I'm going to go from Feldkirch to Bludenz. And we'll go to Bludenz. Confirm that. So we're going Feldkirch, Bludenz. And we won't stop anywhere. Right, we'll stop at Lenzing. And we'll confirm that and confirm that. And we're going to do it in a 4024 because I'm terribly boring. Right. So that's our first service. So you can see this is the new bit. Then that you've got a list of paths. It used to be just one, so this screen wasn't even here. So you've now got paths. So when I add a new path, it's going to automatically start it at Bludenz Platform 5 and tell me what else I can do from Bludenz Platform 5. So my next instruction here is to go to Lindau. So I'm going to go to Lindau, 2B. There's no platform numbers on here, so I'm going to take a guess. And we are going to Lindau here. Let me confirm that. And I'm not going to stop anywhere on this one. So Bludenz to Lindau, confirm. So I'm now Feldkirch to Bludenz, Bludenz to Lindau. And then we're going to add another path from Lindau. Again, it's carrying on from Lindau automatically. And we're going to go on to Lustenau. There you go. Lustenau, we'll go to platform 2, confirm. Go to Lustenau as our end. and we're going to stop at Bregenz on the way back and confirm. Right, so this is our journey now. Feldkirch to Bregenz, Bregenz to Lindau, Lindau to Lustenau. So we're actually good with that. We've already set the train. It's an RBB 4024. So we save and exit. We've got that. Now you can add more AI trains and set those up how you want to. What features have I missed so far? Oh, I know what I've missed. We can go to scenario details and edit the weather. So now I can say I want a custom weather. I want it light clouds. I want a little tiny bit of fog, a bit more cloud than that. And maybe we'll say it's just been raining, so it's like that. And yeah, that'll do. Good. Confirm that. Save and exit that. This humble scenario here. And then we'll click play. This will definitely work first time. Portals. Yes. Yes, you can send trains into portals. Let me show you that in a minute. So you can see the description is now showing up here. And you get more information about the start of it. You know we're going Feldkirch to Lustenau, and away you go. So I think this is actually a bit longer of a scenario than I was expecting.
This is quite long.
Yeah, this was supposed to be short. Why did you give me a long scenario? So yeah, I've shown you the whole idea. Let me bring up the T key here so you can see we are going Denzing, Bludenz, changing driver ends. There's change cabs, Lindau, changing cabs, going to Bregenz, and then going to Lustenau. So there's it handles the change cabs for you and so forth. So it's really it allows you to do a lot more. There's a number of places where that's going to be really useful. Let's show portals. So to the trains. No. Creators Club. Scenario Planner. Vorarlberg. Let's open up this scenario. And we will add a new service. AI1. At that time, and we will start it, and we will add a new path. And we will go from... Give me an idea, Lucas.
Can you come out of the Schrunz portal? SCH.
Not coming up as an option here. Schrunz is at Bludenz, isn't it?
No, that's Feldkirch. That's where you are, where your service starts. But you can...
What's this down here?
That's Bludenz. Yes.
Matt, you said it's a player train, so it probably won't show AI portals.
Quite possibly, actually. Let's go back, and we will edit the details and say it is not an AI train. Well spotted. Let's change this one and make it back to being the AI train. And
I can take no credit. It was definitely James in the chat.
Thank you, James. Add a new path. Portal Schrunz. There you go.
Yeah.
And you can choose. So I guess we'll send this train up to Lindau, platform 3. Confirm that. It's going to Lindau. Confirm destination. Actually, where's another portal I can use rather than that? So if I don't go to Lindau, if I go to Lustenau, I can't go to Lustenau from here.
You should be.
No.
Next alphabetically. No.
Okay. I won't then. We'll do another train to do a portal, or one into a portal. Confirm instructions. So we're going from the portal Schrunz to Lindau platform 3. And again, it will be a 4024. Save and exit. So that's one AI. So that's a service coming out of a portal. And then if I add a new one in, which is AI2, you can do them both from the same portal, but I'm not competent enough to do that right now, apparently. Now, if we start at STM, isn't it? And then we can go from Lustenau to Lindau, because everything's going to end at Lindau. There you go. Confirm to Lindau platform 6. Confirm. I wanted to go into a portal though. Why did I do that? I guess we're adding more AI. Go for it. It's going to be the best scenario ever. Save that.
I want you to upload this one to Creators Club, Matt, when it launches.
Yeah, 3.
I think everyone is going to subscribe.
I think they will.
With the vast variety of the trains that you've selected as well.
Oh, it's a winner. It's a winner. So I want to go into a portal this time. So let's start at
You can go from Feldkirch to
Feldkirch. I can't go from Feldkirch because it's used
Oh, you're
by
really
somebody
doing
else.
that crap. Okay, go from Lindau.
Go from Lindau. Platform
And
7.
Go
And
to Lustenau.
Go to Lustenau to confirm. Portal St. Margrethen. Confirm. Go. And I'm going to make this a 158 because I'm contrary and it probably make Lucas squirm. Go. There you go. So we've got some trains doing some things, into portals, out of portals, and all sorts of things. So can you set a time for AI? Yes, you can. Under edit details, you can choose when they start.
Probably going to be a bit of trial and error, I would imagine, involved in some of these, because knowing when things are going to be at certain stops.
And then it's trying it also. Then you play the scenario and you're like, oh, actually, I wish I could see that train a bit earlier. I'll make its service start a little bit earlier, or make the player train start a little bit later, and or things like that. So you can have all sorts of fun now. There's a bunch of extras that you can bring into what you're doing with this in terms of your descriptions, with your different start times, with the key thing with the start times is, imagine you start the train on one platform and you set the player train to start, say, at 5 or 10 minutes after the start of the scenario, and you set your first AI train to run immediately, then it will get the green light and can pull out ahead of you, and then that'll mean that you've then got something up ahead of you slowing you down or giving you adverse signals, which was actually quite difficult to achieve previously. I think you can have a bit of train spotting at the beginning of the scenario, of the service, so that you can see a couple of trains going in and out before you then get the go ahead to leave. So I think it gives you a lot more freedom, just that little change there, to make the beginning of your scenario really quite interesting. And then you've got the ability to customize the weather. It can be dynamic, it can be static, and you can tune it the same way you would in service mode. It can't change during obviously dynamic weather can, but you don't have any control over that, and the static weather will just always remain like that. And then you've got path chaining, which lets you link multiple things together, as you can see from this one. This one's got multiple links in it. Previously, you could only do one link. It was A to B, and that's it. Now it can be A to B to C to D to B to A, however you want to do it. And you've also got the ability to put trains into portals and take trains out of portals. So it adds, it's a number of small changes, but I think they add tremendously to the variety and flavor of stuff that you've got that you can then add.
These are all sort of player requested features as well, aren't they? They're things that we've kind of thrown it out to players. What would you like to see? And we've sort of tried to deliver on as many as we possibly could do.
Yes, absolutely.
Couple of questions, Matt. Sorry. So is it only 5-minute increments that you can change the start times by? WMPTE73 asks. Yep. Okay. Jan Roslaniek, I hope I've pronounced that right, says, okay, we can edit the starting time, but what about the station stops? I assume for AI traffic.
No, you can't. It is something that I'd like to find a tidy, neat way of doing, but it's not in there at the minute, no.
And DJ Kai Jones says, can you set up 24-hour timetables using portals then?
So there is still the same, I think, 30 service limit, which is something we might look at reviewing at some point. So there is still a limit to the number of services, but in theory, you can make that time. You can use those 30s by having trains spawn and then go in and out and in and out and in and out of portals. So it's you should be able to do more with what you've got.
Paul Wilson says the volumetric fog looks lovely. Yes, nice when people point out things that we don't have to mention, and then we can give them a nice little plug on the stream as well. The volumetric fog is looking great.
Can you add coupling? That's really difficult with the outline scenario planner that you've got at the minute, because you can't really do anything very precisely. So probably not in the scenario planner. But it is something that we are kind of in a view to what's kind of the next way we can start advancing the scenario creation tools. So not ready to talk about that stuff yet, still discussing what the right approaches are, but no, it's on our mind as something we want to look at to take it forward. So as you have been previously, you've been telling us what you want to see and what you're enjoying and what you'd like to see more of and how you tweak it. Keep doing that. You know, hopefully you can see that from this that we are very much watching.
Always watching, Wazowski. Always watching. I could do the voice, but I won't. I won't subject anybody to that this evening. LWR asks, can you spawn another train during the scenario and couple to it? I guess that we've just kind of answered that in a roundabout way already.
You can't use free roam functionality within custom scenarios, only within service mode timetables and within free roam mode.
Indian Train Simulator gameplay says, if I add a stop to AI, can we set a custom time for arrival?
Is what, sorry?
If somebody were to add a stop to AI, could they set a custom time? Therefore, set a kind of for a backdoor way, I guess, set a custom time for an arrival.
No, because you can't set any times other than the initial departure time.
Okay. Cool. I just wanted to quickly clarify as well what's available for Train Sim World 4 core routes versus compatible content routes. So training path functionality and portal support are TSW4 route specific. I believe there might be a couple of examples where things like chaining paths might work in older content, but it's not sort of off the shelf available for it. Everything like the custom start times, weather selection, introductory texts are available for TSW or anything older than TSW4.
Yeah, and the key thing with the chaining is just that paths back then weren't built with chaining in mind, so you'd get a service from platform 1 going eastbound and arriving in platform 2, but no way to then go eastbound from platform 2. So that's where the chaining stops working, or doesn't come up as an option. But for example, on Southeastern High Speed, you can run a service into St Pancras and back out of St Pancras. That works beautifully. So the functionality is there if the paths exist to use it. It's more that the paths don't exist to use it.
Yes. Yeah. And Simman makes a good point as well in the chat, said for those who are wanting to take the editor route, the opportunity to create some sort of more detailed scenarios will obviously be available. So it's not like a get out of jail free clause, because we know it's quite a complicated bit of kit to utilise. But there is that option available to players if they're willing to use the editor.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Indian Track Simulation Gameplays asks, where is the speedometer HUD? So we're using what we're calling the mini HUD at the moment. And Matt, do you want to give a quick summary as to what the mini HUD is and why we wanted to implement it?
So the mini HUD up in the top left corner here is meant to give you only the information that isn't already in the train. If it's in the train, so my speed and brakes and everything else, PZB, all that information is in the train, I don't need it, and therefore it's gone off of the screen and allows me to be more present and immersed in the cab and see what's going on more clearly. But when am I due places, where am I going, what the current speed limit is, what the gradient is, and how close am I to my destination, I don't know. Those things aren't in the train. They wouldn't be in the train. You would know those as a driver. So those things you have the option to put up on in this mini HUD. And you can turn other things on. So we've got the track monitor over in the top right corner, which is showing me what there is in upcoming signals and speed limit changes. There's helpfully nothing on there right now. So we can look at that when something appears. But you can also call up other things. Like I've got the Control 1 display, the upcoming, the next objective in world. So that one is on. But again, you can turn that on or off using keyboard, or there's a setting for it as well. The speed limit up here you can turn off if you don't want it. If you want to be a bit more immersed and have to remember what the speed limit is where you are, you can turn it off. Same as you can turn off the track monitor. Or if you want to go back the other way round, if you go into options and settings, then under accessibility, you see got this HUD type. So HUD type normal is what you're familiar with. It's everything back to the way it was. It's this. If I go to settings and I go HUD type simple, then it's a simpler version of the HUD that doesn't have the wings on the side with the slightly more advanced information. So it gets rid of brake cylinder information, safety system information, but it's how you can get something more, so a little bit more subtle with the speed indicator on it. You can see there's a signal here coming up. Not this one, this is a distant, but the up ahead is there's a green signal coming up. So you can see that on the track monitor. One of the other things that's been added to this is the ability to just have everything. I don't know if you saw when I went to off. So off has nothing on it. Now, this isn't quite the same as many of you on console and PC have been using the F1 key to turn the HUD on and off completely, because probably what you found and you dislike is that when you press the F1 key to turn things off, you no longer get tooltips or things telling you what your controls are, whereas in the off mode you do still get those. So you still got the F1 key to do stuff if you want to, but if you want everything off but still want the things like this, then the off setting will do that for you.
You've got kind of, I guess, 5 different HUD settings then, in essence.
Yeah, you've got a range. And here you can turn the score on and off. Here you can turn the speed limit on and off. So you've got a lot of control over what you actually have guiding you as you go. And the normal setting, the one that's marked as normal, is what you had in TSW3. So you can drive like that. So you can see the barbershop pole is now counting down our arrival to Nenzing.
Nice. Okay. So GLs can use chain paths of West Somerset Railway. As we mentioned earlier, the chaining paths feature is for TSW 4 core routes only. So those are the 4 that come with Deluxe Edition. Sorry, yeah, the 4 that come with Deluxe Edition. Those are the only ones that it's available for. Simpan asks, I see your earning points to use the scenarios have medals.
They don't, but they do have points. Having medals for user scenarios is possibly something to look for in the future.
Yes, I quite like that idea. BDL asks, will portals on older routes be added at a later date? No current plans for the time being, but again, never say never. What is the bar next to the time? I think we just touched on that Indian Train Simulation gameplays. It's an indicator of how close you are to your next station.
You can see it's going up now, because previously on the old HUD you'd have the green circle going around the instruction, counting up when your load was going. With the minimal HUD you get it counting up essentially, but it's doing the same thing. So yeah, it's in load mode, it's going up as it loads. In normal driving, it will count down the last kilometre to your stop.
JP asks, could portals be added using the editor?
So new paths could be added using the editor, and the portals are already there in the routes. It's just that they're not there in the paths. It's the same problem as the chaining thing. So you could, I guess, using the editor, make a mod which adds a bunch of paths to a particular route for Scenario Planner. I've not tried that, but in theory, yes. If the portals, one of the problems with the portals is that because previously they've never been visible, they quite often are called portal, which is a problem when you've got 15 of them visible. And there's not much you can do about that, because the name of the portal is built into the route, which you can't change. So you could, add add portals, but you might find it's not actually very useful.
FBlockL, Sophibian says that people already made mods with the unofficial editor featuring portals, so
Yeah.
by the sounds of things, possible.
Yep.
Cool. So let me just see if I have any questions from the forum thread that I listed earlier. One thing that is maybe worth noting is creating content in TSW3. So if you already created content for Creators Club or Livery Designer or Scenario Planner for TSW3, because it's connected to your Dovetail Live account, it will port over when you port over your profile. However, you will have to re-upload things to Creators Club if you want to re-upload them to so that they're shareable for everybody else. But they will be in your Livery Designer and Scenario Planner files. But yeah, make sure you transfer your profile over for that to be possible. We're recommending at the moment that players keep your previous version of Train Sim World, whether that's 2 or 3, installed just while you go through the profile transfer setup. As soon as you've transferred your profile over to TSW4, you should then be able to uninstall the older version. Crazy Killer asks, so I can take my TSW2 or 3 made scenario and update it with new weather, for example.
Yes.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, if you want to update your existing existing scenarios with kind of some of these new features, obviously the ones that have been mentioned for older compatible routes, you can do that. If you create a scenario in Scenario Planner 2.0 and upload it to Creators Club, will that scenario work in TSW3? I don't believe so, because I don't believe it will be available to TSW3 players to see.
4 content won't work in 3, no.
No. Yeah, DJK Kai Jones says, so everything created for TSW3 can be used in TSW4. Yes, if you port your profile over. Yep. And if you want to edit it, you can do with the new features. Scott Ross says, just keep the base version of TSW3 for profile transfer to TSW4. Yes, we think it should work without it, but we've kind of gone on the better safe than sorry approach. So keep hold of it if you've got the space and port it over, keep it installed and then uninstall it as soon as your profile transfers over. Or, I mean, you can keep it for as long as you like, but at that point you can then uninstall. Bouncy, Matt.
I looked over it just at the wrong minute and to the chat, and then looked back. I was like, "Oh, what's going on with my train?"
Dartmar asks from the forum thread, on Scenario Planner, has the search function been updated, and can you search for creators by name? I assume that's Creators Club rather than Scenario Planner.
I would need to look into that one. I don't know off the top of my head. Right, let me... Good signal.
Adigairan, I don't know how to pronounce it, unfortunately. Consist editor or formation designer. We don't have a date as of yet. We obviously want to get Train Sim World 4 out of the door, and we want to make sure that we're kind of refining it where we possibly can do before we add more stuff to it. So there has been some kind of initial work done to kind of port formation designer through to TSW4, but we don't have a date as of yet. Ultramaster X, can you use free roam whilst you're playing a scenario? Nope, you're not able to do that, I don't think. Tortita says, if I'd like to have the Vectron, will I have to get the Deluxe edition? You'll be able to buy it separately, but it will come a little bit after release. I think it's about 30 days after release. It becomes an individual add-on. If you want it and you you want to get one of the starter packs, for instance, you can plan to get Vectron further into the future. I think it still makes it cheaper with which to do that. However, as I say, if you want to get the full package and get everything on for early access, then that is the way to get hold of the Vectron.
So lots of requests to see a Vectron hauling IC coaches.
Ta-da!
It's where you can come up with all sorts of crazy combinations. Doesn't matter if there's a formation for it. Spawn the bits you want, delete the bits you don't, and then couple it all up.
All right, so I think we've shown quite a lot tonight, Matt and Lucas. Is there anything else you would like to talk about in relation to either free roam or scenario planner?
Not currently.
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Awesome. So yeah, I think the kind of the one of the things we wanted to get across with Train Sim World 4 was kind of putting the power in the players' hands to be able to create and develop and make a sort of really interesting things that we've never really thought about. So hopefully this is kind of one of the these two features will allow players, particularly free roam, to kind of control their own game session and have a basically do whatever the hell they want to do, which is great. And I'm really excited to see what everyone comes up with. Couple of questions quickly before we finish. Is there a preload, Kazuma? I think on your respective platform it will tell you if there's a preload. I know there's one for Xbox and for PlayStation. I think the PlayStation one is tomorrow. Xbox I think has already happened. Steam I am not 100% sure, I have to be honest. But you can take a look at that. And we've got in the FAQs everything to do with recommended settings and all of that kind of stuff in the FAQs. Please take a look at that. Really recommend that you do, because there's a lot of information on there that I think we've answered questions on many times tonight. Controller haptics demo, it wouldn't be the most exciting demo, Sandy, I don't think, because and we do our live previews on PC just because we have a setup in our streaming room in the office to kind of better support things, and we've got everything on there, including all the streaming software. So we tend to do our previews on PC. Haptics wise, you might just have to wait and see on that one. I don't think we've got plans to do it. Okay, all right. I think that pretty much we'll call it a day for tonight, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Loads of questions tonight, loads of interest and lots of excitement, which is fantastic to see. Thank you everybody for all of your questions. It's really great to see sort of how many people are really sort of getting stuck in and what I've got loads of ideas for how they want to utilize some of this stuff already. We're really excited for it. Matt, is there anything in particular you wanted to kind of throw a gauntlet down to players to take a look at, particularly with regards to free roam mode?
I want to see what you can do with it. I want you to come up with the weird and wacky. Show us what we don't even realize you can do with this. Because it's kind of like you've got more advanced power and stuff you can do in Scenario Planner, but free roam is kind of anything and everything. So I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to is some really interesting content on YouTube, some really interesting videos where because you can just make it up and record that session. So yeah, show us the weird, the wacky, the wonderful, the amazing, and show us what you can do. You can do with our game.
And Lucas, any gauntlets to throw down?
No. Sorry, I was looking into the Creators Club thing. No. Just go and have fun. Use the freedom, and if it's a crowd pleaser, maybe we can advance on free roam a little bit more.
Well, tell us what you want to see with this and anything else. You're all really good at telling us how you want the game to advance. Continue that process. We really appreciate that feedback. What else were you looking at free roam and going, oh, I wish it could do X, or that would be interesting to hear. So do use the forums.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, well, I think just quickly a little bit of admin before we finish. You know me, I love a bit of admin to finish. So TSW4 is available to pre-order now. If you like what you've seen tonight and you think, you know what, I really want to get stuck into free roam mode, you can do so. deluxe editions and special editions of TSW4 will enable you early access as well, where you'll get access on the 21st, which is Thursday, excitingly, 5 days before everybody else. So if you are interested and you want to get stuck in with that, then absolutely please do so. All of the links are on our website, trainsimworld.com, where you find all of the details and the FAQs as well on what Train Sim World 4 is all about, all of the packages on offer, all of the pricing, all of the benefits, all that kind of stuff. It's available on our website. Really recommend you check it out. Next Wednesday, this Wednesday, it is going to be an East Coast Mainline and Flying Scotsman double act, where we're going to preview those. Matt's already excited and licking his lips at what we might want to be doing on Wednesday. So we're really excited to be able to show you that the day before early access goes live, and then obviously full launch is on the 26th, and the times are 1500 UTC for consoles and 1700 UTC on PC and Steam. So yeah, we're going to try and put together a list of like what you need to know and put it onto our forums over the next couple of days, so that if there are things that we think are going to be important for you to learn about, then you've got them all in one place. We'll share that over as much as we can do over the course of the next few days. And including actually Purism, Dentist asked, would you show us how to download our DLC from TSW3? One of the things that we're going to put in that is how you download stuff onto TSW4. So fingers crossed you should be able to see that. Wonderful. Thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Lucas, for joining us.
No problem.
And thanks very much, Matt, for your game showcasing of your TSW4 skills as ever.
That's all right. Been a pleasure.
Wonderful. All right, we'll see you all on Wednesday. Matt and Jamie will be taking you through Scotsman and East Coast Mainline. We cannot wait.
See you later, folks. Bye-bye.